for a piece of dirt. I'm just looking for that sweet salvation, a one-piece heart that you just can't hurt. I'm just looking to go to heaven. I'm just looking for a good use forward. I'm just looking for an old resonator. I'm just looking for a flaming sword. Well, I'm just looking for a hot trifecta.
Well, howdy there. This is Billy Earl. Welcome to the Berry Music, where we look into the lives and musical adventures of local people and find out what makes them tick. We are honored today to have a young lady that I met several years ago at an open mic run by Mr. Bob Crabcake up there in beautiful downtown Delaware. Her name is Sarah Ann Garrison, and she is a seasoned country music performer, and we are just thrilled to have you here.
Thank you for having me today.
Welcome. Tell me a little bit about how you got to doing this. Are you a phenom? Are you a prodigy?
Well, I've always been a singer ever since I was 3 years old, and I've been doing beauty pageants since I was 10. And I stopped doing that, and for a while I didn't do anything, but I started to just sing songs sometimes, and then one day my mom was like, "Is that you singing?" And I was like,
That's nice to hear.
"Well, yeah, that's me
Thank
singing."
you, Mama. We see you over there.
I was like, "Yeah, that's me singing." So I ended up getting some lessons, and I would do it as a talent portion of my pageant thing,
Right.
but it didn't blow over as well as you would want it to, because in a pageant, they're more likely to want like the showy ones, not the people that sing country music.
Okay.
So I stopped that, and I started doing competitions. And when I was 12 years old, I was at the Delaware State Fair competition, and I sang. And I found my first band after that. And after that, we started performing around at places, and we became really popular. And when we split off, I decided I still want to do this. And ever since then, I've been continuing to do what we used to do.
Yeah.
And I just sing wherever I possibly can and wherever people want me to sing.
Well, I would think that would be virtually everywhere.
Yeah.
Who do you like? Who are your heroes in country music?
In country music, it would probably be Miranda Lambert, Carrie Underwood, Kenny Chesney, Johnny Cash.
Okay.
The person that really got me into music at the time when I started singing would have to be Michael Jackson, though. 'Cause
Right.
when I heard that he passed away, I didn't know who he was, but I heard his music and I was like, wow, that's really, really good. And I got really into it, and I would start singing it. So that's what really started it.
Have you ever listened to Patsy Cline?
Yes, I have.
Patsy is a personal hero of me and my wife. When I moved here to reconnect with my my girlfriend from 7th grade. Now I have to admit this, and I hope this doesn't hurt her feelings. She dumped me in 7th grade. Didn't tell me why. Just boom, just cut it right off. I was heartbroken. I was just a zombie for 2 years, and she tried to make it up to me, but I wouldn't have anything of it. We got back together in 12th grade and went to the prom, and then we made the worst decision we could possibly make. Because as young people, we thought that you fall in love somehow in convenient times and places, and it don't happen like that. So she went to the beach, I went to Virginia to play football, and we lost each other. 40 years later, boom, Facebook. I get a Facebook message from her saying, just wanted to say hi, so hi. So that's how we got to this point. But my question for you is, here you are on the, you've been to Nashville. You've been around the block musically. Where are you going with your music? What do you want out of it?
Well, I'm really hoping to at least make my name recognizable to a good amount of people.
Yeah.
That's what I would really want. The dream is obviously to be famous like Taylor Swift or something. And that's something that I have to really start getting into, because I've been so used to taking the winter season off.
Right.
Because I was so used to being in school and having to pay attention to school
okay.
more than music, because I couldn't really mesh them together as well. I took a lot of time off of school. It was still really good, but I had to like really manage it out, and just school came first more than music, because that's something that I needed to get done. And now that I'm graduated, I've decided to take the year off from going to college just so I can see where my music career decides to go. And it's really different for me to have so much time to work with music.
Right.
But I feel like in the long run, it's going to be really good for me. It's gonna give me something that I've never had before. It's gonna give me like more music.
What would you consider the biggest gig that you've done?
The biggest gig I've probably done was Delaware Junction. I think either 1 or 2 summers ago. I sang there on the opening day of Toby Keith, and I was really excited because I had never really done like a festival like that before.
Right.
And it was really cool because I had seen that the littler tent was not as popular as the big tents because
Okay.
the big performers are on the big stage. And I was really bummed because I was really afraid that nobody was going to come and see me because I was first thing in the morning.
Good for you. Ambition's coming out.
Well, I got up there, and there was quite a few people at first. It started out with a decent amount, and as I started singing, it just it packed in. Because I guess since there was nobody on the big stage, everyone was like, "Oh, well, there's somebody on this stage."
Right.
So I got a really good crowd, and it was really fun. It was one of the best performances I ever had.
Now, who did you meet at this that impressed you?
I got to meet Jason Aldean.
Okay.
I met Jason Aldean on it was just random. He was pretty cool, but I didn't get to talk to him or anything. The person who hired me, he was really nice. He talked to me about it, and he was like, "You did a great performance and everything, and it was really nice of you to do this for us." And it was cool, but I don't think I met many people because it was only a 2-day thing. Or it was 3 days, but I only went 2 days.
Okay. Well, one of the things about this show is that we are tied in to the National Folk Festival, which is coming to Salisbury. That'll be the first week of September 2018. These people who run this have a history of attracting in excess of 200,000 people to an event. There will be 6 stages here in the Barry, and we'll have artists from all different genres. And certainly country music is going to be way up there if I have anything to say about it. We would love to have you involved with that. That would be just terrific. And there's going to be some national acts here. It's going to be a big deal. You do it for 3 years. And then you have to continue sponsoring a musical event of that magnitude here. So the city of Salisbury is building an 800-person amphitheater. The boys from Mid-South Audio will be involved with that, doing the sound and lighting. It's going to be just fantastic. But it'll be a place where local artists can find a place to come and play for large numbers of people in the kind of venue where it will teach them and educate them on the professionalism of music. Now, you are a guitarist, is that correct?
I am a very light guitarist.
Okay. Are you writing at all?
I do. The only time I use the guitar is when I write.
Okay.
So that's when I use it. I'm too afraid to play it out because I don't want people to be like, "She's so mediocre at that. I don't know why she's trying to do something like that." I know I am. I know. So, but I do write songs.
Don't you worry about that. People are going to love you strumming on that 6th string.
We actually just got back from Nashville 1 or 2 weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
I recorded 2 songs, so those will be out soon.
Are you recording with Larry Beard?
I did.
Larry's a personal hero of mine. He gave me some real good advice 2 years ago on songwriting. I have never met him face to face, but I called his studio, and I called him a bunch of times and finally got into him, and I sent him a demo of a song that I had written that was recorded in Texas, and he said, "Change it here, change it there, get to your chorus as quickly as possible, give me a nice bridge, that kind of expands the thinking of the song." This is all off the top of his head. He was just brilliant.
Yeah, I went there last June, and it was really cool because I had this song that I thought could be really good.
Okay.
But there was something about it that was a little off, and he heard it. It was just the rough draft of it, and he heard it, and he was like, "Well, if you do this,
right,
this would make it a lot better. And he was completely right. And when I did it, it made the song complete. And when I went in there to see what they were going to do with the song, they were like, they listened to it once, and they were like, all right, run it back again. We're going to play the song. And they played the music in like 4 minutes. I was like, that is amazing how they made something that was nothing this fast. Like, they made it a complete song within minutes. And I was like, that's really cool. I just thought it was really fun.
Well, people who have that gift in the music business, who are in the production end and are songwriters and understand the market and all that, I find it fascinating because they think at this light speed about how to improve a piece of material, and they also are good about, how you should sing it.
Right.
And I find that just so helpful. Now, when you have a voice like 10 miles of gravel road like I do, there's only so much you can do with it. With you, it's a whole different story. You're like a palette there that they can work with that has artistic boundaries, which are way beyond what the average person does, and you are very fortunate to have that.
Okay.
But taking the musical lessons is a big step, because learning to use your voice, it doesn't just fall out of heaven. It's work, and people don't necessarily think about it in that way, which is one of the reasons in this show that we do not only artists of the area, but venues and the people who are behind the scenes, the Kevin Shorts of the world at Mid-South Audio, the Gino Baileys. Gino, welcome back from Paris, France. I'm not talking about Paris, Texas. I'm talking about Paris, France, Gino. But all of these things work together, and they can... Well, I've often said that the sound man's the most important person in the room when an artist is on stage, because they can enhance what you're doing or they can hurt it. But of course, the boys at an MSA, they're top drawer. Now, country music, do you ever go outside that genre? Do you ever do other things?
I have recently. When I'm in a place that seems like they would like country the most. Obviously, I'm only going to do country. Maybe like a song or two different, but mostly the country. I have recently got into pop just to branch out into younger people and really get a different feel. Because I know how some country music can be really kind of slow and ballady, and some people kind of get bored with that, and they're like, well, we're here, but we kind of want to dance. So I kind of branched out into pop, so maybe they would be able to have like a choice of difference. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, just something new.
Well, you're listening to your audience.
Yeah.
And that's important. You can't get up there and just be, all about me. I'm here to sing. You've got to be in tune with them, and I think the better artists really are. Now, you are taking a year off to focus on your music. Do you have goals and aspirations beyond that educationally?
My goal is, right now, I'm not completely sure what I would like to do in school.
Yeah.
Music wouldn't be the right thing for me to go into, because when you go to college for school in music, it's not the same thing as just being a singer. It's like, it's a whole different story. They want you to be like a classical musician, and I'm like, that's not me. I am a country singer who just knows how to sing and strum a couple chords on the guitar, but that's not, so I can't really branch into that. And it's like, I hope that maybe in a year or two, I will be able to figure out exactly what I would be interested in doing with my life if singing doesn't become the one main thing.
Okay. Well, take your time. You got plenty of time to decide. I'm a big fan of Austin City Limits, and in many ways, we'd like to fashion this show a little bit after that. Lloyd Maines was on last night, and Lloyd is an old friend from Texas. I've never played with Lloyd, but I've been to many of his shows, and I know him personally. That's Natalie Maine's father from the Dixie Chicks, and he produced either 2 or 3 of their first albums. He's just a musical genius. But he was disappointed when Natalie was going, she had gained admittance to the Berklee School of Music, and then came back and just left it to sing with the Dixie Chicks, which I guess if I'd seen the writing on the wall, I'd have done the same thing. But it will be good for you to broaden your experience and become a more rounded person, not only in just education, but also in music. Learn to read the round notes, which I never learned to do. Probably should have. What are you up to now? What does the fall look like for Sarah Ann?
right now, the fall hasn't exactly. I'm trying to think of the right word. It hasn't exactly become full yet.
Okay.
So I'm still. The summer was full of music, but right now, since it's winter, and I was usually off limits because of school, it's kind of empty.
Okay.
But I'm sure it'll become more full the more that people realize, okay, she's available. She
Right.
can do this. She can do that because she has no school or anything.
You're starting to sing as a young person, and you're attracted to country music. I understand that affection. That was certainly my favorite form of music and continues to be to this day. But country music doesn't have quite the following that it used to, and I'll swear I don't understand why. Because the beauty of country music is that it always tells a story from the heart. And it tells you how the person who wrote the song, the person singing the song feels about larger issues. And I wish people would listen more to the content of it. When you're writing country music, what are you thinking about?
I always think about my personal life and what I'm going through in the moment, because people tend to really enjoy a song that they connect to. If it's something that, if they're sad and they want to listen to a sad song that relates to them, it really helps them. It makes them feel better about how they feel, and it's like, they're like, this person really connects with me. Like Taylor Swift, for instance, she's such a big influence on people because of how good she is at relating to people's lives, and people really enjoy that. It's just like, I want to be able to do the same exact thing and really connect to my crowd, whereas like some songs, some writers, they don't connect to their singers or their fans. They just write a song and it means nothing. The whole song has no definition whatsoever. It's just a song.
She's a brilliant songwriter.
She is.
It's almost as if she is speaking. I have grandchildren who are listening to her. My daughter went to school in Texas at Trinity and became a devotee of country music. And so my grandchildren, her children, are now listening to Taylor Swift because there's so much more to what she does than people seem to think. I think they discount her, but she's a terrific business person. She is a terrific writer. She's a singer. She plays guitar. She's doing all of it. And I give her accolades on every level. I think what she did was absolutely magnificent. But she was fortunate. She has supportive family. Once again, Mama. And that's so important.
It is.
That your family look at what you're doing and realize how difficult art is to make.
It is.
When you were young, were you hesitant to do this? Did you have stage fright?
I had very bad stage fright when I just did it on my own. I would stand on stage with my arms behind my back or, not move, and I would just stand there, and people were like, you should really try to move around. I'm like, oh, okay. And I would want to, but it was like I was too afraid because I didn't want to look weird to people.
Yeah.
And it after I got the band, I finally realized that, like, standing still isn't going to work out
Not
anymore.
gonna do it.
Because people are going to be like, well, this is a good band, but she's just standing there. It's not really entertaining. And I realize that there are times and places where people are looking for entertainment or just there to chill out and just listen. They're not there to watch you. They're just there to, like,
How did you find your band?
Well, when I was at the state fair, they came to me after it ended. We were all 12 and 13 years old. We were really young. We only lasted a year. But I do thank them because they did get me to where I am today.
Okay.
So, without that, I don't know where I would be, to be honest. I don't know if I would have continued with music without the band. Because when I didn't have the band, I realized how much I didn't enjoy just singing to tracks.
Okay.
Singing to tracks is not the same. It doesn't give the same feel, and people don't seem to enjoy it as much as they enjoy a full band.
I don't think they do either.
They really like to watch people, like actual musicians and singers. And right now I have a guitarist, and that's all I have. We're just a duo thing. And that's really cool too. People enjoy that. But in some places they would prefer the band, which I don't have anymore.
Okay, but you're going to be in a position to put that back together really when you find the right people.
Right.
The band thing is, and Junior Wilson from up in Milford, Delaware, who I think is just a musical god. He says that a band is really like a marriage to a bunch of people at one time, and it's more difficult to manage and more fraught with danger than sometimes you think. But every band needs a leader. Every band needs somebody who can say, okay, here's what we're doing, here's the big picture from 50,000 feet, here's where we're trying to get, and here's your role in it.
Right. And
here's where you play, and here's where I play. And you've got to give musicians, some leeway to let them, stretch a little bit. But if it's your band, it's your band.
Exactly. It's just, as young kids that we were, I don't think that they knew exactly in that moment how they felt about it.
Probably not.
And I was always knew that music was more of an importance to me, but to them I think it was more just like a job. And
okay.
And when you're young, you don't know what you want, obviously, but they didn't like having to take orders. Like they're like, well, I don't want to do that song, but like it's like, I'm sorry, I know the song isn't that great, but people really like it.
Right. Yeah, somebody's got to do taking care of business. But it's a good lesson. It's a good lesson in learning to deal with people. It's a good lesson in leadership. And it's more difficult than anybody else knows. In fact, just being on stage and singing and performing is more difficult. I always find it interesting that, and around here, when I lived in Texas, there was live music everywhere. And people went out all the time and didn't mind paying a cover and didn't mind going into a club to enjoy live music and paying something for it. People here have a little bit more reticence, and for the life of me, I don't understand it. I'm hoping that Mayor Day, big shout out to you, brother, bringing the National Folk Festival here will change that a little bit, and it will allow for more artists to be available in more venues, especially the type, for instance, like the Stoltz Listening Room in Easton, which is an intimate setting of maybe 40 people are in there, and the sound management is superb. The lighting is superb. It's as if they're in your living room doing that. And so you pay $30 to go in there and listen to it, and it's worth every penny. Assuming arguendo that the artist is of that level, which I've heard you sing. You are. You could go there and knock them out with your guitar player in a New York minute. We may talk some more about that because we're going to be doing shows at the Avalon, and they're looking for, people from here, who are, I'm going to use the word extraordinary. I'm going to use the word to describe people who are more experienced and more talented than either their age or their, I guess, not familiarity, but their fame has brought them. Because there's a lot of really good players around here. I thought in Texas, you shake any tree, and 2 songwriters and 3 guitar players fall out. But there's a lot of people here who have a lot of talent in the areas of bluegrass, in country music, and there's a lot of other genres that are represented, and yet we don't know enough about them. And I'm hoping that's what this show is going to do, is bring these people to the people out there, either on Pack 14 or go to YouTube to the Barry Music to pick up this show, because a life without live music just ain't hardly worth it. Let me ask you one question, and then I think we're going to have to wrap up. Here you are in beautiful downtown Barry. Hopefully you'll be back when the National Folk Festival is here. You'll be at the new theater, which is going to be downtown by the Riverwalk, 800 people. It's going to be magnificent. In the meantime, in the best possible stroke of luck you could ever have, what would happen to Sarah Ann that would propel her to fame and fortune?
I feel like the one thing that could really shoot off my career was if I got the opportunity of let's say Miranda Lambert needed an opening act or something, and she needed to hire somebody, but she didn't want to hire like, Raylan or something, because, like, they're doing their own thing. And she
Yeah.
needed somebody who was quick and easy and had the time to do it. And she was just like, she just, called upon me, and I got to open for Miranda Lambert at her showcases. To me, that would be something that would really be the highlight of my career. 'Cause
Okay.
that's one of my idols. And to me, I feel like that would really have people know who I was. Like, they'd finally realize, like, oh, this person is pretty good, and I didn't know who she was until right now.
Right. I didn't know. That's the story of music. I didn't know. I didn't know they could do this. I didn't know they could do that.
It's sad to me because I feel like people think that just because somebody is a starting musician, they're not big, they're not famous. That they think they're not going to be that great. They're just trying to make music because that's what they want to do, and they think they have talent. It's like, it's not like that. Like, some people really work really hard, and they are great musicians and great singers, and they never get the chance to shine as big as the stars because people really just think that the famous people are the only ones that are good at music.
That's right. They make decisions about music that are just inappropriate. Friday night, I went up to Wilmington to see the Red Molly. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're three gals. One's from Virginia, one's from Jersey, and one I think is from Chicago. And they are on tour right now. Check their music out. They've got a killer dobro, lap slide player, and 2 guitar players. But that 3-part harmony, it's just an absolute thing of beauty. When these ladies open up their mouth, there is one voice that comes out, and you can't hear the distinction between the 3 voices. All you can hear is that one sound. They're all great singers in their own, but here's an example of people, and they've been doing this pretty close to 20 years. And they tour, and they sell albums, and they do that, but there is a band just based on talent that ought to be a marquee. And I got a feeling that you are going to be there one day. And we're going to bring this tape out 20 years from now and say, yeah, we knew Sarah when she was down in beautiful downtown Salisbury with Ben and Angela, and we were all in studio too. We remember that. Look, I really want to thank you, dear, for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you
It was
so
a
much.
pleasure. This has been Billy Earl. We are here on the Barry Music, and I just want you to know what my mama says. A life without live music just ain't hardly worth it. We'll see you on down the road. National Folk Festival. Thank you, Jake Day. God bless you all real good. Bye-bye.
Dr. Pepper soda can, summer heat coming off that sand. Yellow dress, a blood smile, too young to understand that a July summertime romance don't last forever. 18 falling fast, those days were all we had. Beach days, sunshades, let the tide just drift away on the hood of a cherry red Chevrolet. Till nights go by, young love and wasted time, hanging out like stars, counting cars. Tailgate tangled up, you and me in the back of your truck, sitting back, wasting time, too